I spent a year working for Capital Dynamics, which is a private equity company in the finance sector. And the first half of this, I was working in a department that does huge amounts of reporting, and the second half, I'd moved into IT. And so for the first role, the skills I was using was Microsoft Excel VBA. And so I had some spreadsheets that was like my main task, but in the end, I was just doing any sort of spreadsheet and going all over the place, fixing all sorts of things and helping people with any sorts of problems. And it's basically the general reporting where you're getting text files in, reading the headers, and then turning those into different reports and moving columns. And basically the biggest issues we had was when columns were in the wrong place, and I wrote like a class which would read column headers so that when the system that produces our source data puts the columns in the wrong order, the class actually grabs the column headers and then the whole thing just flows through. So if you're getting new reports through where the columns are all swapped around, who cares? Your class is actually managing your column positions. So, I did a few changes like that, but then you'd have to rewrite the whole code behind that, which is processing it. But from then on, you can manage any import file. And I was also assigned to train someone because there was this guy who'd done lots of the reporting side and was like a bit of a computer geek, but not really a programmer. And my task was to actually teach him how to become a computer programmer, and he became very good at it, and he ended up being made a VP and sent off to New York to do all of this stuff. And yeah, he's a nice guy. And yeah, then came the second half, because this was a contracting thing, so the budget from the first department ran out, and then the IT department had a bit of a budget. They saw I had skills, and so I was writing stored procedures, because there's the system which generates its own stored procedures based on the database, and they're slow. And because it's an automated way of creating the stored procedures, it's not really doing it in a very optimized way. And so my task there was to look at stored procedures that had been created and rewrite them so that they were much, much faster and optimize all sorts of things like that. And just work in the back end of the Microsoft SQL Server. And yeah, it was very interesting. I got to do an awful lot more stored procedures, and yeah, that's a very useful skill. And I've done stored procedures before, but it's always good to be 100% focused on stored procedures. And yeah, it was very nice.